All right, so you swam at the 1987 World University Games in Croatia. Is that correct?
Yes, 1987, Zagreb, Yugoslavia.
Zeus. Okay, so somebody got that wrong because they have Croatia written here.
Well, Yugoslavia is now Croatia.
Okay, well that makes sense. Not great on the geography stuff.
That's all right. First international meet. I was 18 years old, just finished my freshman year in college.
Yikes, that had to be. So, what do you remember most about that experience?
A couple of things. That was my first international swim meet. I had just won NC2As as a freshman, was feeling fantastic, on top of the world. And my college coach, Dr. Sam Fries, was the head coach of the US team. So we had a number of swimmers that competed for the US at that meet, during that meet. And that was nice to have a lot of LSU representation there, as well as the head coach. And my probably biggest competitor was my teammate, Andy Dykert, who was a sophomore at LSU. So, it was a great series of events, going to LSU, winning NC2As, competing very well as a team, making this international meet, traveling to Yugoslavia. I think my first event, we won the medley relay. And then I was mostly in college, a 100 breaststroker, but I did swim the 200 breaststroke at that meet, placed second, was a little disappointed, didn't feel great. And then I found out that I had tonsillitis. So I didn't even get to swim the 100 breaststroke. The medical staff had me fly home by myself and, had my tonsillectomy a day or two later. So although it started out great, a great, fun trip, new experience, it didn't end so well. So I felt like that trip was cut short quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I would agree. That's tragic. That honestly some bad luck right there.
Yeah, but as I reflect on it, what's important about meets like that weren't necessarily, this is a couple decades later, wasn't necessarily the time, or even if I got first or second place. It was really those experiences and the travel, a new team. So all of that is what I reflect on the most.
So since you got to represent the U.S., at this meet, what was it like getting to represent, the whole country on a global stage like the World University Games, and getting to share that with your LSU teammates as well?
It was unbelievable. So just leading up to that meet, receiving all of your USA gear, walking around campus with your USA jacket, or in warm-ups with your swim cap, it felt fantastic. And to share that with, all of my teammates was special as well. And we did have some teammates from other countries that were there. And, it's just so much fun to share those experiences with all of those people. Even now, decades later, I still talk to people about not necessarily the swim meet, but we relive some of those activities.
I bet with those teammates, those are connections you never lose. So,
That's right. Some of the memories fade, but it's nice to keep in touch with those people.
So do you believe competing on a global stage like the World University Games made you a better competitor overall?
My swimming career in the late 80s and early 90s, it really was jumping from one platform to another. So growing up in North Carolina, swimming against some great swimmers in North Carolina, then you go to college and all of a sudden you're competing against the Southeastern Conference, a very strong conference, then NC2As, then the global stage. So it just continues to get bigger and bigger, larger and larger. The spotlight is brighter and brighter. So every step has different challenges, but they're all fun. Wherever you end up, wherever your career lands, wherever you land in your career on those steps, it's fantastic. Whether you make it to the top or say you're just a high school championship swimmer or a college swimmer that does or doesn't make NC2As, it's so much fun because you always have someone that's going to push you.
Yeah, sounds amazing.
And I think to circle back on your question, Chris, once you get to the world stage and you realize, even more so now than back then, there were a handful of countries that had the best swimmers in the world. Now, when I look at swimming results, really almost any event, any country is represented. It's just fantastic. The parity from South America, Latin America, Europe, the US, Canada, everyone has phenomenal, fantastic swimmers and athletes.
Yeah, we had a few foreign guys on our team at UNC, so.
And it really adds to the culture. It makes training, competing, that much more fun.
Yeah. So as a North Carolina native, obviously you're aware of the large university presence that the Triangle area has with Duke, NC State, UNC, Shaw, Meredith, all those. What are your thoughts on North Carolina being as a host for the World University Games?
So first of all, I think the Greensboro Aquatic Center has done a fantastic job growing that facility and soliciting and winning a lot of high-profile meets, NC2A's conference meets. It's just a great place, easy to travel to within the U.S. There are, as you mentioned, a number of universities in North Carolina whose programs, are very strong national level, to even other programs that continue to drive talent. It's unfortunate. I heard about East Carolina University in the past year or so losing part of their program. That's always a challenge, but I think North Carolina is a very strong USA swimming and college swimming state. So for them to have all that talent as well as those facilities, and they also compete against the Triangle Aquatic Center, who's growing their footprint. But I think it's a great way to grow swimming within the state, to have big high-profile meets in either Greensboro or Cary. Really drives engagement and excitement with the younger swimmers and puts a spotlight on some of the programs in North Carolina. So I think it's fantastic. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah. So from what you've seen in the World University Games, do you believe that the Triangle area is a good area to host the games?
I'm not sure exactly how they would make that decision, but I think as far as travel, amenities, safety, I think it checks a lot of boxes, as well as having such a strong presence in swimming in general. So I don't know if your question is surrounding just swimming university games or athletics in general, but North Carolina is, a nice location for a lot of the world to travel to. It's not as difficult as some other places around the world to travel. So I think they do a great job hosting the university games.
So in your perspective, what kind of positive impact should we expect if the Triangle area was selected to be the 2027 host?
So as I mentioned before, I think when you have high profile meets in North Carolina, that really drives engagement and excitement for age group swimmers, USA swimming in general. It even has an effect on master swimming and universities. It puts a spotlight on some of the programs in North Carolina that offer that. And when parents see these athletes competing so close to home in North Carolina, then those kids get excited and they want to participate. They want to be like, this athlete or that athlete. So it makes it a lot more approachable.
Yeah. So in your opinion, what makes for the best athlete experience at a large event like the World University Games?
So from the athlete's perspective, I would say a couple things. Ease of travel. You know, whenever you travel to another country or even coast to coast, it really takes an effect on your body and your performance. So the easier it is to get there and acclimate to that time zone, comfortable settings, you know, hotels or wherever the athletes are staying, if they have an athlete's village, as well as nutrition, food, medical staff, access to pool time, all of that weighs in and factors into whether or not it's going to be a successful meet for those athletes.
So do you have any advice for the North Carolina Big Committee that might help them land the games in 2027?
I would say play to their strengths. You know, they have a lot of experience hosting large meets. All of those meets that I've attended, whether it's as a spectator or a competitor, they've been run very professionally and smoothly. So the fact that they have experience doing that, they have a lot of pool space, lane space, lots of hotels, all of that are positive as far as them trying to win that bid.
Well, that's all the questions I have. Thank you so much for your time and everything.
Absolutely, Chris. So tell me quickly, what was your background?